All right, so today we are going to be reading a book, and this is the front page. So, can anybody tell me what the title of the book is? Yes, it is Garvey's Choice, and can anybody tell me who the author is? It is Nikki Grimes. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and open to the foreword, and we're going to read to get a little idea of what the book is going to be about. So, what if you're not the kid your father wanted? Garvey is a bookworm, an inventor of jokes, a loyal friend. He loves music and math and learning about outer space. But Dad wants Garvey to be a jock. Does anybody know what a jock is? Yeah, it is somebody who likes to play sports, is typically on all the sports teams and things like that. Exactly. He wants to talk sports with Garvey, to roughhouse with him, to play football together. Garvey tries to fill the father-sized hole in his heart with food. Now his taunting and teasing classmates, with the exception of Garvey's best friend and only friend, Joe, can't see who he really is either. All they see is an overweight, awkward kid who doesn't fit in anywhere. Garvey has an important choice to make, one that could be the key to getting people, including his father, to see and accept the real Garvey. So we're going to flip to the first page. We have the contents. Alright, a little too far. Here we go. It figures. When I was 7 and crazy for Mr. Spock, a Star Trek lunchbox was all I craved. Instead, Dad bought me one blaring the logo of some football team I'd never even heard of. I shoved that thing in the coal black of my closet, then celebrated with a cake. So, can anybody notice anything different about the text and how it's formatted on the page? It doesn't take up the whole page, right? It's pretty short. The lines don't go all the way to the end like a normal book. And that's why we call this the Tonka form. And we're going to flip to the back, and we're going to read really quickly what Tonka form is. That way we have a better idea of why it's used in this particular book. And it says, Tonka is an ancient poetry form originally from Japan. The word Tonka means short poem in Japanese. The basic Tonka is 5 lines long. The line-by-line syllable count writes in the modern English version, but the number of lines is always the same. So, line 1 has 5, line 2 has 7 syllables, line 3 has 5 syllables, line 4, 7, and line 5, another 7. And not every American poet follows a syllable count for Tonka poems, but I think of a syllable count like a puzzle. Each word is a puzzle piece, and I like figuring out which word fits best. Traditional Tonka poems focus on mood. They are often poems about love, the 4 seasons, the shortness of life, and nature. In my Tonka, I include mood, but in each poem, my focus is more centered on telling a story. I hope you enjoyed the stories I told. So she's going to use Tonka to explore Garvey's story. Alright, so we're going to flip back to the next page. Origami. Mom's got a talent for origami, but she can't fold me into the jock Dad wants me to be. At least, she knows not to try. Angie's the athlete. Why should I compete with her? Why can't Garvey be like his sister? I heard Dad ask when I was 8. Mom said, that's the wrong question. Ask Garvey what interests him. Talk to him, honey. Yeah, Dad. I thought, talk to me. But will he? I wish I knew. Summer Lost and Found. Stories are breadcrumbs. Just follow the trail of books, and you will find the lost among the galaxy, and find me lost among the galaxies of scorched stars and ships to Mars. Stars. Stars on my ceiling wink at me when the full moon comes out for a visit. I might return the favor someday, at least in my dreams. For now, I strap on Chapter 4 of Mars Rescue, steady the console, then ease back on the throttle for a smooth flight through the starfields. Sci-fi novel. On page 59, I meet 2 red Martian trolls and feel a sweet chill ripple through me, till Dad says, football would do you better. Where did he come from? The sudden slap of words sends my trolls scattering. I snarl and pound my pillow. It's too late to slam the door. So here we can see Garvey enjoying something a lot, and then his dad decides to make a comment making him feel bad about the fact that he would rather choose to read about Martians than play football, and it really hurts Garvey. Mom speaks. Later, Mom asks him, "Why don't you let Garvey be?" I hear Dad snort twice. "Why can't he put those books down, play football or basketball? Garvey likes to read. When was that not a good thing?" "Thanks, Mom," I whisper. "You're right," says Dad, "but reading doesn't build muscles, does it? When I was his age, my pop and I always played. We roughhoused, well, normal." I go downstairs, grab a Coke, wash down Dad's disappointment. Does Garvey not wanting to play football or wanting to roughhouse make him not normal? No, everybody has their different interests, right? Antidote. Dinner table talk is magically washed away on a sea of song, the minute I clamp on my trusty earphones and push play. Rhymes with Harvey. Some people wonder, why Garvey? Why not Marcus? So I asked my dad. Lots of boys named Marcus, son. Garvey? That's one of a kind. Unique. How good is different? I search stories for someone who resembles me. If it weren't for books and Joe, different would just be lonely. Portrait. In Angela's eyes, I'm little baby brother. I tell her, "You're not as much older as me as you think." She spatters me with laughter. Perfect. My mom says I'm perfect. Dad says I'm football ready. Whatever that means. Angela calls me Sweet Chunk, but I still love you, she says. Joe. Joe caught me dancing in first grade during recess, out back by the slide, alone, or so I thought, till Joe showed up and joined right in. Seems funny now, 'cause there was no music playing, and neither of us minded or needed any. We were on our own melody. We went back to class, each waiting for the other to spill his secret for a laugh, but we didn't. That's how we knew we'd be friends. Did Joe tell Garvey what he thought or who he needed to be, or did he let Garvey be who he wanted to be and do what he wanted to do? And he was his friend because of that. Best friend. I like Joe's Garvey. Clever on the pitcher's mound, wicked smart in math, #1 at knock-knock jokes. Do friends make better mirrors? Knock-knock. Here's Joe's knock-knock joke. "Joe, knock-knock," I say. "Who's there?" "Orange." "Orange who?" "Orange, you going to ask me in?" I laugh every time. Mine's better. "Knock-knock." "Who's there?" "Orange." "Orange who?" "Wait. Knock-knock." "Who's there?" "Banana." "Banana who?" "Orange, you dying to know?" Me and Joe. With window cracked wide, we telescope the night sky, trailing Orion, dreaming of supernovas mapping the stars for hours. Alien. Over breakfast, Dad eyes me like an alien, never seen before. Sometimes I could swear that he's hoping to make first contact. Tuesday. Excitement beaming from Dad's face, he bounces in, palms a basketball. "Look what I got for you, son. Wanna go work up a sweat?" Who's he talking to? After all these years, you'd think he'd start to know me. Will he ever stop trying to make me someone I'm not? Phone call. All evening long, I try tucking in my sadness, but it keeps getting snagged on my voice when I speak. Joe catches it when he calls. "Hey, what's up?" Joe asks. Should I tell him? "Nothing you haven't heard before. I wish my dad could see me. That sounds crazy, huh?" "Not really," says Joe. "I get it. Seriously. But you've got a dad. Mine skipped out a long time ago. Why'd I open up my big mouth?" Joe shrugs off his hurt. "Knock, knock," he says. "Not now, Joe." "Come on, man. Knock, knock." I give in. "Who's there?" "Your friend, Joe, who's always here for you." Dance with my father. Dance with my father spins on the CD player on my dad's nightstand. The words seep into me, then leave my cheeks wet and salty. Saturday play. Soccer games display Angela's acrobatics out on the field, but there's another game she plays that we both call distraction, and it goes like this. Dad juggles his ball like a hot potato, asks who's up for running passes, Angela always rises. I could probably use some extra exercise. She winks at me. Sign of our conspiracy. Score. I slip away unnoticed. Mom gets her chest set, teaches me about bishops, knights, pawns, then says, football is fine, but this is exercise for your brain. Sunday dinner. Joe and I stretch the afternoon practicing chess long enough to skip potato peeling duty. We save our strength for eating and being grateful for roast chicken at my house and glazed ham at his, plus mashed potatoes that make our mouths two caverns of joy. An extra helping of Mom's famous peach cobbler earns me a death glare from guess who. I've worked it out, says Dad. Garvey stuffs himself so he's too slow to run passes with his old man. Sure, Dad, whatever. That's all kinds of crazy, right? Maybe I just love cobbler. So we're going to go ahead. We can kind of get an idea of the relationship that Garvey has with his family. His dad just told Garvey that he thinks that he keeps eating because he doesn't want to have to work out with his dad, which isn't true. And Garvey's saying maybe he just likes cobbler. So we're going to go ahead and skip ahead some pages so we can get a little further into the story and see more of the relationship and what Garvey is going through. Alright, so we're at page 65. Where'd that come from? The change bell always sinks fear into me like teeth. Ugly name-calling leaves me with bloody bite marks, lard butt, fatso, Mr. Tubbs. Your mama rests on the tip of my tongue today, though I don't say it. But when I hear, yo, 2-ton, the words, yo, no brain, slip out. So kids are making fun of Garvey, and they're basically calling him overweight, which doesn't make him feel good, and usually he's able to bite his tongue, but today he decides to say something back. Advice. Later, when chorus is done, I hang with Manny, join him on the bus. Got something on your mind, G? I like when he calls me that. I was wondering how you stand kids teasing you. I'm honest, he says. I've got albinism. Fact. I look strange. No changing that. Is there more to me? Sure. Kids yell, albino boy. I don't turn around. Choose the name you answer to. No one can do that but you. His words. Manny tells me he was made in God's own image. God is beautiful, he says. So what's that make you and me? Do you get it, G? I carry his words in the pocket of my mind. A few times a day, they remind me to ignore the kids who don't know my name. So Garvey's realizing that nobody tells him who he is but him. Come to think of it, why let Angela call me something that I'm not, or let her tease me? Bad enough that kids at school kick my heart around for fun. Name game. Sis falls through the door, juggles, backpack, and groceries. Hey there, chocolate chunk. How about giving me a hand? Call me that one more time, and the terrible sound of teeth grinding fills my ears. Tears are far behind. I bite my lip and whisper, my name is Garvey. Got it? Angela withers. I'm sorry, Garvey, she says. I was just teasing. Yeah? So why am I bleeding? Pow. Maybe she gets it now. So Garvey's finally letting people who are making fun of him know how it's making him feel. Perks. Manny waves to me across the cafeteria. I pocket my coins. Sharing Manny's scrumptious lunch means more money for music. And we're going to go ahead and skip to the end because now we see Garvey speaking up for himself. And we're going to skip to 88. And we're going to see what Garvey's attitude and how it's going to change. Assembly. Single file, we march on stage for our recital. Louder than a zoo. The kids watching point and laugh. Hyenas in human skin. Teachers hiss and shush, quieting the animals until they become an audience of students, squirming in their seats and bored. Like water ripples, our first notes spread harmony. I see my classmates floating in sound, and I stand taller. Manny nudges me when it's time for my solo. Legs like spaghetti, I worry that I might faint. Eyes closed, I wait for courage. A whisper at first, the music in me rises. Live inside the song, I tell myself, and I do. Then comes the hush, and then the applause. Let down. During the applause, I search for him in the crowd, catch him with head bowed, cringe, certain I failed again, until I see Dad wipe his eyes. Thanks for the push. Like hard candy, thanks sticks in my throat, melt slowly, waiting for the words. I jab Manny in the arm, mimicking movie tough guys. New fan. Dad stands to the side, beaming pride like a nova, lighting up my year. Mom's crushing hug expected. The nod from Dad like Christmas. So we can see, when Garvey decided to do something that he really loved to do, his dad realized all that it meant to him, and they got to have a relationship.